So in previous lecture we have seen the arc source emission spectroscopy. So in that spectroscopy we have studied the characteristics and its principle for the arc emission spectroscopy. So various types of voltage means for DC current or for AC current, which voltage range is applied, that we have seen. Then we have seen the characteristic for the arc sources, and in that characteristics we have seen there are two types of different electrode, like one is the two graphite electrode, but out of these two graphite electrode, one is having the sharp edges and another one is there with some cavities. Okay, so there is one limitation for the arc sources, and that limitation is nothing but our cyanogen spectral bands. Okay, cyanogen spectral bands. So what are that cyanogen spectral bands, that we will see here. Okay, so generally the arcs which produce the samples or the spectrum are generally uses which type of electrode? Graphite electrode. And graphite contains the carbon. Okay, so the graphite electrode which interact with the air and emits the intense band due to the presence of cyanogen radical. Okay, so the graphite or the carbon electrode which interact with the air and emits the intense band due to this cyanogen radical. Okay, CN radical. So as a result of this emission of cyanogen radical band, we get the sharp uh, spectra or sharp lines are at around 350 to 420 nanometer. Okay, so this important wavelength are there, 350 to 420 nanometer. So these lines generally contains the lines for the other elements also. Okay, so the several element which shows the most sensitive line in this region. Okay, so around that 320 to 420 regions. Okay, we get the lines for most of the elements, and these lines are more sensitive to the particular element. So in order to avoid the cyanogen interference, we can generally perform the analysis in presence of controlled atmospheric gases such as carbon dioxide, helium or argon. So externally we can incorporate or introduce these gases into the our sample chamber, so that the interaction with the cyanogen is get eliminated. Okay, but again this cyanogen band which cannot be completely eliminated under this condition, means even if we use this carbon dioxide, helium or argon gases, still we cannot be able to eliminate the completely eliminate this cyanogen band. So for that we can do one another step, that is, so we can simply heat the electrode. Okay, so as to drive up your adsorb nitrogen gas. Okay, so nitrogen is being like most abundant, so it get adsorbed on the electrode surface. Okay, so if we heat the electrode under the vacuum condition, so the nitrogen present on the electrode get eliminated. So if nitrogen is not there, then this CN radical will not be formed, and as a result that cyanogen interference is eliminated. Okay, so this is the limitation for, or we can say that difficulties when we are going to analyze the samples. So one another important factor is there, like rate of emission. Okay, so how the rate of emission can alter the our emission analysis, that we will see here. Okay, so the rate of emission for various species will be depending upon the two processes. Okay, one process is what, your first volatilize of the sample, and then excitation of the particular sample. So in order to get volatilize the sample, we will be requiring the different time as well as different temperature for the particular species. Okay, so some species might appear, or some species might volatilize easily, and they get excited and they will show the spectra. Okay, but once that species get consumed, once that species gets consumed, then we will not get the spectra for that particular species. So if we continue the spectrum run, we will get the species which are having the uh, which will show the volatilization at the higher temperature. Okay, so these species, other species which reaches to their maximum intensity at a later time. Okay, so thus it is necessary to integrate the emission signal for as long as the minute or more. So for particular element or particular species, we need to show the time period for the specific species. Okay, so generally for powder sample, the signal for the lines of various element which will be usually giving rise rapidly during this period, and then this will decreases to zeros for various species. And because of this behavior, the powder sample which often get the burn until they get completely eliminated or consumed during this analysis. So overall output which obtain will be having the wide range. Okay, so for less or less volatile substance or more volatile substance, we get early spectrum, and for those species which are less volatile, we get the spectrum at the later time. So we need to integrate this output signal, we need to integrate this output signal, then only we can be get the proper result which will be used for our analytical purpose. Okay, so this is the rate of emission which is defined for the various species. Okay, so rate of emission is useful for the integrating the our overall samples. Okay, so we can incorporate the times for the volatilization and your excitation process. Okay, so these two processes are different for different elements or different species. So depending upon their, we can say, melting point or vaporization, okay, vaporization temperature. So there are different rates of emission for particular species. Okay, so next is the applications of arc sources. So generally these arc sources are used for the qualitative as well as semi-quantitative analysis in non-metallic samples. Okay, so generally this mm, okay, so these arc sources are generally used for the qualitative and semi-quantitative analysis of non-metallic samples such as soil, plants and materials, rock samples and mineral samples. Okay, the excitation time and the arc current which will be adjusted so that the complete volatilization of the sample will occur, and generally the current is approximately around 5 to 30 ampere for the 20 to 200 seconds, and the sample size requirement for the given analysis is around 2 to 50 milligram. Okay, 2 to 50 milligram. And we have seen that for non-metallic sample estimation, we will be generally do the various processes. Okay, like we can make the use of powder form or small chips or grinding or some fillings method, or often all these techniques are used so that the sample is first form the in the, just a minute. Okay, so once we have uh, formed the sample, then we can mix this sample material with the graphite. Okay, so we generally mix this sample with the weighed amount of graphite, and this all this sample as well as graphite is then placed into the cavity of graphite electrode. Okay, and we have seen that there is a two types of electrode, one is having the sharp tips and other is having the cavity for the sample uh, placement. Okay, so for sample placing, we generally use the powdered form sample. Along with this, we get the weighed amount of graphite, and we mix thoroughly mix of these two, and we place that into the cavity. So generally the electrode which contain the this sample is anode, and the second electrode or the counter electrode is nothing but your cathode. Okay, so these arc excitation sources are used for qualitative and quantitative analysis. The precision which is obtained with an arc source is generally poor than that of the spark sources. So all these things you can uh, incorporate into the limitation of this arc source technique. Okay, limitation or disadvantages of the arc technique. So arc excitation techniques are useful, like generally useful for the qualitative and quantitative analysis, but the precision obtained for this arc sources is poorer than that of the spark sources. And we have seen that plasma sources or the flame sources are quite superior over this arc and spark sources. So obviously this arc sources is least superior among all these techniques. Okay, and the emission intensities of the solid samples are highly sample dependent. Okay, so we have like seen for the excitation of particular species or in the rate of emission, we get the different peak intensities, or the at different time interval we are going to get the signals. So this emission intensity of the for particular sample analysis are highly sample dependent, and hence as a consequence of this, the matrix matching of the sample standard and samples which is usually required for the satisfactory results. Hence the internal standard method which can be partly used for the elimination of this problem. Okay, so like limitation, in limitation we can say that. Okay, so in limitations, mm, first in application, this all these arc sources can be used for the non-metallic elements. Okay, like soil samples, then plant material, rock and minerals. And the requirement for this samples are like 2 to 50 milligram of sample is required. And for non-metallic sample we generally process the sample preparation that we have discussed. Okay, so for the, and in limitation we can see that these techniques are not superior or over the other techniques. So these techniques have the poor precision. Okay, and the signal or signal intensities or emission intensities obtained are highly sample dependent, and the signal which are obtained by using these techniques are quite complex. Okay, so all of these limitations is can be eliminated, okay, by using this internal standard method, which will partly reduce these problems. Okay, so in next lecture we can see this next type of sources, that is the spark sources.